Permanent emigration was not the only way that Highlanders had a relationship with overseas. Lots of young men joined the military. In the days before the clearances, Sutherland could apparently raise over 1,000 fighting men. Some of these men fought in the American Revolution. Of course, they fought on the British side, on the Loyalist side. One of these men was from Rogart. His name was John MacDonald. When he was a young man, he was sent to go and sell some cattle in the local area. He met some recruiting officers, and after a convivial evening, he woke up the next day realising that he had been press-ganged into the army. He made a merit out of this problem. He served for much of his career in Europe and he rose to the rank of Major. And he came back here to Rogart, to Mewey, and he lived here in this area where he was a well-off and influential man, and he had lots of subtenants living on his land. A life of peace mustn't have appealed to him very much, because when the American War of Independence broke out, he and his son signed up to fight for the British. After the war, his son remained over there and settled down in New York. By the 1800s, the main regiment for the area was the 93rd. Men were often conscripted into the army, and many of these regiments were raised by the landlords, and this was the case with the 93rd. John Mackay told the Napier Commission that when this regiment was first raised, the landlord conscripted the men. This is what he said. If a father had 3 sons, 2 were demanded, and if he had 2 sons, 1 was demanded. Our township was required to furnish a rough census of those who were of the age for soldiers, and there was simply the order sent, and they were obliged to go. There was an informal agreement dating back to the days of clanship that families who sent their sons to serve in the army would not be evicted. However, this agreement was frequently broken, and this left a sense of betrayal amongst the people of Sutherland. And the numbers serving in the regiment started to drop off quite dramatically. And when challenged about this, the people said that the Duke could send the sheep to fight for him. Highlanders played an enthusiastic part in extending the British Empire. There was a Rogart boy killed in the First Afghan War, for example. At the turn of the 20th century, we know a lot about the high levels of patriotism in this area. We have a diary kept by the schoolmaster, William Campbell, and he was especially interested in events going on during the Boer War in South Africa. He noted in his diary when the volunteers' pipe band marched through the village to great cheers from everybody. He noted the volunteers practising their rifle shooting at the rifle range, which is just behind me. He noted military events, and when the siege of Mafeking was relieved, he illuminated the whole schoolhouse and he put pictures of Baden-Powell in the window to resounding cheers by the crowd outside. So Highlanders were deeply involved in places overseas, particularly the Empire, and especially through the military. The War Memorial here in Rogart shows the strong connections with the military that men from this parish had with places all over the world. You can see here the records of the men who died from this parish, and you can see that they served with the New Zealanders, with the South Africans, with the Canadians, with the Australians, and even with the Persian Rifles.